Hello and welcome to this more detailed breakdown of Ncuti costume for his version of the Doctor. Last week was a bit of just a rush general thoughts based on the first image, but now I think I'm going to go into a bit more detail and possibly theorise on what the costume suggests about his version of the character. But before we begin, I'd just like to ask, if you haven't already, please support the channel by hitting subscribe, turning on notifications, like, comment, and you can find and follow me on social media at the links here. The first thing that I want to talk about is something that I missed last week, and that was the behind the scenes video of Millie and Ncuti showing off their costumes. While I'm still going to be annoyed if Ruby Sunday ends up being from the present day Earth, I have to admit, Millie Gibson's chemistry with Ncuti is really great, so I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing these two together. On a more close-up inspection of the costume, something that I like is that the trousers and jacket aren't the same pattern of tweed. Helps to break it up and make it a bit more distinctive. And I also like that there's sort of a patchwork design to the jacket, as there's a bunch of different tweed patterns on it. And overall the look is very solid and there's a consistent colour palette. In terms of variations, I'm curious to see what they're going to do to shake it up. I imagine we're going to see alternate versions of the costume purely for merch reasons. I'm guessing either they're going to do basic things like change the shirt, or have the entire costume basically be the same pieces but in different colours that all match together. I do still think that it is maybe missing something like a waistcoat or a set of braces, just to help make it a bit more eccentric, especially when I've seen photos of Ncuti without the jacket. It definitely looks a lot more generic. Having, say, an open waistcoat similar to Tom Baker during the Graham Williams era, if there's any instance where his Doctor has to sort of take the jacket off, it helps having a waistcoat there to sort of like keep that eccentricity. I also said that I couldn't really figure out what type of character Ncuti was going to have based on his costume. On a closer inspection, my theory is that they're maybe going to go for an alternative take on the old man in a young man's body that we've seen with Smith and Davison. Despite being older than those two Doctors when they originally started, because Ncuti is so youthful, I wonder if they're going to go for a sort of mature student vibe rather than a fun professor. And possibly that's going to tie into his relationship with Millie. I'm hoping they maybe go for a sort of best friends dynamic, similar to, say, the second Doctor and Jamie, the fourth Doctor and Romana, the 10th Doctor and Donna. I think this is an instance where they don't really need to go for the parental or mentor figure, considering that he's not that much older than her. Maybe go for a more older brother or nerdy best friend type dynamic, where he's a bit more logical and serious when it comes to certain situations. He's a lot more responsible and a bit more level-headed, but he's able to still enjoy himself and have a good dynamic with Ruby. In contrast, I think she'll be the more fun of the two, and while he teaches her to be a bit more responsible, she'll be the one teaching him to be a bit more laid back and enjoy himself. That way the two complement each other and their contrasting personalities don't become incredibly extreme, as there are flaws and positives to both types of character, and together they form a complete package. In terms of potential character drama and conflict, you have potential story ideas where perhaps Ruby doesn't take a situation as seriously as she should have, which leads to very drastic consequences, or possibly the Doctor is a bit too serious when it isn't really called for. But that's just my guess. What do you think? Do you have any ideas of what you'd like Ncuti's Doctor to be like? And do you think there are any potential changes, slight updates to the costume that we've got now that you'd like to see be added across his time in the show? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.